Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Rodney. In this video, I'm going to walk you through all the settings and features of the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. Let's get started. The Ace Pro 2 has 3 microphones. One right here on the top next to the shutter button. The second microphone is here right below the power button. And the third microphone is right here behind the wind guard. The wind guard improves the audio quality when you're outside in a windy environment. I leave it on most of the time. One thing to remember though, it is not waterproof or resistant. So if you're going to be at the pool or the beach, any place like that, you want to remove it. And it is easy to remove. All you do is slide it to the right and it pops right off. And you can see the mic right here. After you remove the wind guard, you can put this on. This is the mic cap and it slides right on like that and you're ready to go. This is the lens guard and it's removable, so if you were to damage it, it's easy to replace. On the right hand side of the camera is the USB port cover. Just slide it down, flip it up, and here you have the USB-C port, the micro SD card slot, and this port cover is removable. All you do is kind of gently pull at it and clip it right back in. The camera comes with the Type-C to Type-C cable that you would plug in here and use that to recharge the battery. If you happen to have a PD fast charger, you can recharge to 80% in about 18 minutes or fully charge the camera in about 47 minutes. If you don't have the PD fast charger under normal charging conditions, it takes about 75 minutes. You'd also connect the Type-C to Type-C cable to this port if you want to do data transferring or use it as a webcam. Right next to USB port, we have the micro SD card slot. Unless you get a combo that has it, you're going to have to purchase your own micro SD card. You can get up to 1 terabyte, and I suggest getting as fast of a micro SD card as you can because you're recording in up to 8K or 4K at a high frame rate, and you don't want to get a cheap SD card. You want one that can handle that kind of speed at those high resolutions. On the left hand side of the camera, we have the battery cover. Pull down, pull out to open it, and then we have the battery right here. This cover is also removable. Just going to gently pull it up and away. Comes off that easy and clips right back in. On the bottom of the camera is a speaker, a drain hole, and mounting latch. The Ace Pro 2 comes with this standard mount, this adhesive base, and now you can see that it is flexible, so it can be attached to items that are curved. And at the bottom, you remove this to get to the adhesive, but this is a one-time use item, so make sure you really want this attached to what you want to attach to. And we have the screw here. The Ace Pro 2 uses a combination of a magnet and these latches to secure the camera to the various mounting options, and it does a good job, but you really want to make sure you hear it really click in really tight so that way it doesn't disconnect. So it fits right in here. You hear that click 2 times, and now it's in there nice and tight. On the right hand side of the camera is the power button. You just press it once to turn it on. If you need to turn the camera off, you would long press for a second. Let's turn it back on here. If you need to do a forced restart, you would hold the power button for about 5 seconds. And you can also customize the power button. Right now it's set that if you tap it while the camera is on, you can switch between modes. And this button is customizable. I'll show you that a little later. Now that the camera is on, you can see that there's a front screen, and here it gives you basic information like the record time left on the micro SD card, battery level, what mode we're in here, the resolution, the frame rate, and the aspect ratio. And here is the indicator light, and the indicator light can tell you a lot of different things, whether you're recording, not recording, if there's an error. You can find what all the different indicators mean in the user manual. What you notice, unlike the GoPro or Osmo Action 5, it actually isn't another screen to see to frame yourself if you were to vlog. But that's not a big deal, because what I'll show you here next here is you have these release tabs on both sides of the back of the camera. If you push those in and pull up, the screen fully folds up, and now you can use it to see yourself if you were to vlog or something like that, and you still have your mode and resolution and basic information on display for you. To see all the available shooting modes, all you do is swipe left from the center of the screen. We have video mode, pure video, free frame, time shift, time lapse, dash cam, loop recording, slow motion, star lapse, photo burst, interval, photo, and back to video. Up here we have presets. There will be slight variations on the icons you'll see on the screen depending on your shooting mode, but they're pretty standard overall. Up in the upper right hand corner here is the battery level. If you tap it, it tells you the percentage. Up in the upper left hand corner, that lets you know how much recording time you have available, and that will adjust based on the specifications you select. So at 4K 30 frames per second, I get about 2 hours and 53 minutes of recording time. But if I were to adjust that, I could have more or less recording time. If I was in photo mode, it let me know how many photos were available to me. Right here it says HDR, so right now HDR is on, but if I were to turn it off, it will go away. I can show you that a little later here. Here in the bottom left hand corner, it lets me know my shooting mode, which is video, 4K resolution, 30 frames per second. Over here in the lower right hand corner, that lets me know if I'm zoomed in. Right now it is on the standard zoom, but if I were to select that for clarity zoom, it would zoom in twice. And over here is my field of view. Right now I'm in standard video mode, which is good if there's enough light around, but if the camera senses that you're in a low light environment, an icon will pop up asking you if you want to switch to pure video mode. Let me see if I can make it a little darker here, and if we get that icon to pop up. And you can see it right here. Since it got dark, the icon popped up. If I tap it, and it says low light detected, switch to pure video mode, and you can switch or tell it to cancel. And getting it lightened back up here. If I swipe up from the bottom, that brings up the shooting specifications, so you can turn active HDR on or off. You can change your stabilization. Right now it's on standard. You can turn it all the way off to low, standard all the way up to high, based on your shooting needs. Here you can adjust your aspect ratio, 16:9, 4:3, and 235:1. You can set the recording duration. Right now it's set to infinite, but you can save 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, all the way up to 3 hours. I just always leave mine on infinite. You can adjust your resolution. You go all the way up to 8K, up to 30 frames per second. When you're in 4K, you can go all the way to 120 frames per second. And you can go down as low as 1080p. And when you do that, you can go up to 240 frames per second. Your field of view options are also changed based on the resolution and frame rate you select. So right now it's at 4K 60 frames per second. Check out my field of view options. There's action. That's gonna be really wide. You're thinking cycling, skiing, field of view kind of shots. Mega, which I typically keep it at because you get a really wide view with minimal distortion. You can go to ultra, dewarped, and then linear. But if I go back into my specifications and I drop down the frame rate to 30, I'm still in 4K, get back to my field of view options, and now you'll see two more here. You have 45, that allows you to tilt the camera 45 degrees in either direction and it keeps the horizon straight, or you can go to 360 where you can actually rotate the camera 360 degrees and the horizon stays straight. And if I go from the edge of the screen to the left, that's going to bring up the shooting parameters. So right now it's set on auto, so I can adjust my profile. There's the standard profile, vivid, you can use outside, something with nice bright colors. You have flat, that's something if you're going to do some more color grading. Then you have some specific Leica profiles, portrait, film. You kind of go through and find whatever you like for your particular situation. Okay, here you can go in iLog, and this is if you're going to do professional color grading, you're going to get a flat image, but it's going to have a lot of information to help you in doing your post-production. I don't do much of that myself, so I keep it to off. You have your exposure value that you can adjust. You have your white balance. I typically leave mine the auto, but you can adjust it manually here. Face priority tells the camera to properly expose your face, so the background may be overexposed or underexposed. So here we have jitter, blur reduction. If you're in low light and you're trying to walk around with the stabilization on, oftentimes you're going to get this jitter and blurring effect, and this helps reduce that. Or you can set it to anti-flicker, so if the camera is looking at lights or television or something like that, it helps remove that flicker automatically. Here is the sharpness. Generally you want to have it to low or medium. High tends to be too sharp. If you want to have more control, you go to manual. And when you are in manual, you still have your color profiles, you still have iLog on or off, but now you can actually go in there and adjust your shutter, you can adjust your ISO, and your white balance, and your sharpness. Up here is the shutter button. Right now I'm in standard video mode, so if I press it, it will start recording. While it's recording, it's telling me, how much time is recorded. Here, if there's a particular moment I think is special, I want to make sure I mark it to make it easy to find. Tap that. Now it's been marked, and it makes it easier if we're going to go back and edit. Over here is to take a photo while it's recording. And if you long press the shutter button, you can cancel the recording altogether. And see here, do I want to cancel the recording? And I'll say yes, cancel recording. If I swipe from the far left to the right, that brings up the album page, so I can see the photos and videos I've already taken. In the upper right hand corner here is the trash can symbol to delete a photo or video. Below that is the favorite icon if I want to favorite it. Here is the video length. Go over to the upper left hand corner here, that's the grid view. So easy to just scroll through and see. If I tap the icon in the upper right hand side, I can select multiple videos if I want to just delete a huge section. Get back to the ordinary view. Here is to turn the volume on or off of the video when I want to play it back. Here lets me know I shot it in pure video mode at 4K 30 frames per second. And here is where I can highlight a certain section of the video that I like to mark it. That helps with editing. Just say, well, wait a minute or so in the video, it has something I really liked. It's marked, so you can jump there as opposed to trying to scroll through the whole thing to try that find that one moment that you liked. So you tap that, I can scroll through and it's like, I like this part. Tap, now it's there. And you'll again, oh, I like this part too. Tap that. And if you don't like it, all you do is hit the trash can and it gets rid of the marker. If I tap play, I'm watching the video. Where I really like this part here, icon comes up and I mark it there. Check mark and it's set. Up in the top center, tap that. It lets me know there's 105 files. 103 are video, 2 are photos, and 13 I favorite it. If I want to jump directly to the favorites, for example, tap that, and now I'm at my favorites, and I can tap the grid view to quickly scroll through them. And then swipe from right to left to get back to the main screen. Next, I'll show you how presets work. Go to our shooting modes. We have presets up here, and there's already presets. We have vlog, biking, diving, skiing, surfing. And here, for example, vlog is at 4K, 30 frames per second, 16:9. And if you go over here, this plus, you can make your own presets up. So you can go and adjust all those ones that are pre-established, or make your own custom setup. If you want to make your own custom setup, you just click edit, and you say, well, am I doing one for video or pure video or free frame or time shift, whichever setting that you want to do it for. And then you go in here and set your specifications. I want it at 4K, 30 frames per second. I can adjust the stabilization, the ratio. You can go in here, how you like your shooting parameters. Let's say you want one where you have more manual control. You can go and adjust that, and your field of view. So you can have that all set to go. You can tell you're in a preset mode because the icon will be up here. So this was custom 1, so there's a C1 icon. If we were to go to the surfing mode, you see the little surfing icon up here. So it lets you know that you are in a specific preset and not just a general mode. You swipe down to get to the shortcuts menu, and the first item we have here is quick capture, and you can turn that on or off. Quick capture is a setting I use regularly. How it works is when the camera is off, all you have to do is push the shutter button. It automatically turns on and starts recording. I can demonstrate that for you right now. Let's turn the camera off. All I do is push the shutter button, and it's going to record right where I left off. And then when you're done recording, press the shutter button again, and the camera will turn off unless I touch the screen. The next icon is rotation lock on off. Right now it's off. If I were to rotate the camera vertically, the icons reorientate themselves vertically, go back to horizontal, and they adjust. If I turn it on, now when I rotate, the icons stay horizontally no matter how I move, or if I turn it on when it's vertical, now it's locked in the vertical format. The next icon here is gesture control. If you turn that on, if you raise your palm, it will stop or start recording. If you give the peace sign, it'll take a photo. The next feature here up in the upper right hand corner is AI highlight. If you turn that on after you record your video clip, the AI will mark the points it feels are the most important in the video to help you edit faster. Here in the lower left hand corner is pre-recording. When this is on, the camera will capture the first 15 up to 90 seconds of video that happened before you actually press the record button. So if you're a little late pushing the shutter button and you miss that moment you want, if this is on, there's a good chance you're going to catch it if it happened within the first 15 to 90 seconds. Next is endurance mode. If you want to maximize your battery life, you turn on endurance mode, and it will limit features that are going to drain the battery so you can get more recording time. Next we have underwater mode, and this is going to optimize the camera to record when you're scuba diving or snorkeling. In the bottom right hand corner here is screen lock. That way you can't accidentally touch the screen and change anything. To get out of it, you just swipe. Let's swipe to the left and get to some more shortcut menu items here. Here is the grid view. I like to have the grid lines on my screen, but you can turn them off. They're gone. Next we have voice control. You can turn that on, and you have a few different languages to choose from and a few commands here. And I'll do a quick test. Start recording. Stop recording. It works really well, very responsive and accurate. Next is your mic settings. So you have it to built-in microphone. You can adjust the gain for an external microphone or a Bluetooth mic. And you can check your built-in mic either for wind reduction. You'd have that set if you're recording in a windy environment. And if you use that in combination with the wind guard, it works really well. Voice enhance, that is going to enhance your voice and lower the background audio. That also works really well. And then finally is stereo to capture more of the environment around you. In the upper right hand side we have screen brightness. You can adjust that. If you're outside on a bright sunny day, you're probably going to have to really adjust that brightness. But I try to keep it halfway if I can, just to save on battery life. In the bottom left hand corner here we have the screen reader, and this will give an audio notification on your settings and changes you made. I'll demo that here. So that is on. And if you're going to switch modes or stop or start recording or anything like that, it will make an announcement. So we'll see here.
Video. Pure video. Free frame video. Video.
Okay, you can turn that off. The next icon we have here is for the Bluetooth remote. And let's say you have what I have here, which is the remote mini. I'll turn that on here. And see, look for it. Oh, yep, found it. The Insta360 mini remote. Tap. And it is paired. It's really simple, really easy to do. And we'll do a quick test here. So we'll see if we can get it to start and stop recording.
Start recording. Shooting complete.
Yep, it works really well. This also works with the X4. I've tested it out on that, and it works just as well. I don't need that anymore, so I will disconnect it. And now it's always there, or you can go ahead and tell it to delete the device altogether. And the next icon here is for Bluetooth headphones. So I have my Beats here. See if we can get it to connect. Oh, yep, there you go. It's connected. Found them. Tap it to connect. And here in the lower right hand corner is the settings. So our first setting here is camera info. That's going to tell you your firmware version, your serial number for your camera. The next we have general, and here you can change the prompt sound if you want to have it high, medium, low, or mute. Here's the indicator light, and remember the indicator light is we have it right here in the front. You can have that off or on. And here if we change it to off, now that indicator light is off. I generally leave mine on so that way you can tell what's happening. And you have vibration. You turn the vibration off or on. Bluetooth wake up. This allows you to turn on the camera using Bluetooth, like the remote control like I just demonstrated. Screen auto sleep. This is a feature that can help save the battery. Right now I have it set to never while I'm doing this video, but you can set it that once you start recording, after 60 seconds the screen goes dark to help save the battery life if you're recording something where you don't need to see the display. Auto power off. Right now I have it set to never, but if it's sitting idle for, we'll say here, 3 minutes, the camera automatically turn off. Next we have front screen display. So the front screen, it says I'm in the settings mode. That's why it has that icon. But if I was in the shooting mode, it would say, you know, battery life, record time, you know, all my parameters. If you want to turn that off, you can turn it off, and now there's nothing there. So if you want to, you can turn off the front display and the indicator light, and it'd be completely dark. If you long press the shutter button while you're recording, it will cancel the recording. If you don't like that feature, you can turn it on or off here. Touch to activate. If the screen is dark, if you touch the screen, it will bring it back up. And then there's clarity zoom. The clarity zoom, you can turn that off or on. I leave it on. If you were to turn it off and go back to the main display, now it's grayed off, so you can't do the clarity zoom. But if you tap it, you can enable it back. Get back into our settings here. And general. Lens screen prompt, you can turn that on or off. If it's on, you'll get a message if the camera detects that this lens is dirty and it might be affecting the quality of the image. In addition to turning the camera on or off with the power button, you can customize it. You can switch between modes, but if you wanted to do something different, you go here and you say, well, when not recording, I want the power button to switch modes, to turn the screen on or off, to zoom in and out for clarity zoom, start pre-recording, or to enter the photo album. So you can go in and customize the buttons to what you like the best. While recording, you can push the power button to mark, to turn the screen on or off, pause, resume in pre-recording. So it's basically personal choice as far as what you want the power button to do in these particular settings, and find the one that works best for you. Yeah, image settings, so you can set the anti-flicker to auto. You can adjust your bit rate, and generally you're going to want the bit rate to high, and adjust your encoding. I leave mine at H.265. So then you have power off charging. So if the power is off and you connect it to power, it will charge only, or you can say it to charge and power on, or you can say charge and record, whatever your needs are. Generally charge and record would be if you're maybe doing a long time lapse or something like that, where you want the camera recording for a long period of time and that external power source. And there's time code. So if you have multiple cameras, you can sync them all together using time code. And you have your Wi-Fi settings. Wi-Fi will turn on automatically when you connect it to the app. On or auto, I leave mine to auto. SD card, so if you need to reformat your SD card, you do it here, but only do that if you're done with it, because you'll permanently delete it, and lets you know how much storage space you still have available. Language, there's several languages to choose from, so you pick the one that's appropriate for you. You can set the date and time. There's the date, the time is in military time, and you can change the format of the date. You can recalibrate the gyroscope. If you're going to do that, you place the camera on a flat surface, hit start, and it only takes a few seconds. Reset tutorial. When you first get your camera, it's automatically going to start a tutorial for you. You can turn that off, or after you've used it, you can turn this feature off. But let's say you haven't used the camera in a while and you want it back on. Here you can turn it back on. reset camera. If you want to reset the camera back to its factory settings, you can do that here. And then certification info, which is legal things. We've just been in standard video mode through this video, but I want to touch on the other shooting modes that are available. First is pure video, and pure video is meant to record in low light situations. The camera uses its two chips, an AI chip and an image processing chip, to get the best low light performance. You see there's this icon here on the screen. This allows you to turn on something called Pure Video Plus for even more enhanced video quality in low light situations. If we swipe to look at the shooting parameters, you notice that there's less here. There's no auto or manual mode because the camera is taking care of everything for you, which limits some of your options. And if you swipe up, you see that you can go up to 4K and to 30 frames per second. So there's going to be some limitations on what you record and how you were going to record, because the camera is making a lot of decisions for you. The next shooting mode we have here is free frame video. And free frame video is easy way to record your video and easily be able to use it for long form horizontal content or short form vertical content. You'll see here that there's two boxes. One is you have your wide format, and here you have your vertical format, so you can make sure everything is in frame properly, so you could take your one shot and have it be a full length horizontal, or go into vertical easily and everything's still in frame and how you want it, and be able to turn it into short. So here you have the standard modes here. You can go to 4K up to 60 frames per second, and your aspect ratio is set at 4:3. You can turn on active HDR, your duration. Go over here to parameters. You can do auto, manual, all the standard ones. But really, what makes this one stand out is the fact that it's going to give you, a frame of reference for your vertical and horizontal, and you still have, all the field of view modes. The next mode is time shift. And a time shift is basically a walking time lapse. So if you go in here, you swipe up, and your resolution and your frame rate is set automatically for you. You have your stabilization options of low and standard, because this is not a mode you'd have if you're doing any kind of adventure thing like bike riding or snowboarding, anything along those lines. And here you go up. You're limited as far as what you can adjust, but you do have some manual settings. You have most of the field of view options, but basically the camera is going to take care of everything related to doing the time shift. Next shooting mode is time lapse, and time lapse is what you're typically would think of, different than a shift where you're moving. This, you set the camera, and then you can set the parameters of how you want your time lapse to go. You swipe up, and here you can control the intervals, how often you want to take a photo, every half a second all the way up to every 120 seconds. And you can set the video length, forever, 3 minutes, all the way up to 10 hours. Here you can change your resolution. Your frame rate is set. Stabilization. Typically your stabilization is off, but you can set it to low because it's going to be stationary. And you can adjust your ratio between 16:9 horizontal or 4:3, which gives you some flexibility if you want to go in and manually crop it for vertical. And you can go up to 8K on your resolution. When you go over to the parameters, they're limited, but you do have the ability to go in and manually adjust your shutter speed, your ISO, and your white balance. Our next shooting mode is dash cam. And the dash cam, you're going to have all your standard settings and modes. Here, the big difference is your loop space. So the dash cam is always going to be recording, but it's going to record over itself. So that way you don't miss anything, but you still don't max out your storage. So you could adjust that as necessary. It says allocate the portion of the SD card for dash cam recording. So you can go in and adjust that so that way you can manage your storage but still get what you want. So you can go all the way up to 4K, 30 frames per second. And here is charge and record. So that way, let's say it's plugged into the USB port in your vehicle, it's on and recording. So you don't have to worry about going through your battery. You can have the time watermark, so that way if you want to know exactly when something happened, that's on, but you can turn it off if you want. You still have all your field of view options. Our next shooting mode is loop recording, and this is fairly similar to dash cam. You have all your standard parameters and specifications here. Biggest thing is loop duration. How long do you want to record before it records over itself? And you can go forever all the way to 30 minutes. And you can go 4K up to 60 frames per second and set it however you would like. Our next mode is slow motion. So slow motion, you have somewhat limited parameters, but you still have your manual settings here. Go up. In 4K, the best you can do is 120 frames per second, but if you drop it all the way down to 80p, you can go to 240 at 2.7K, 120, and you're going to have everything else is going to be pretty standard. Star Lapse I won't be able to demo because it requires to be somewhere else where you can get a nice view of the night sky, and I live by the city, so there's too much light pollution. But you can do these cool star time lapse, and you can go in and adjust the type of video you're going to take, a star lapse, star trails, photo. So you can kind of go in and pick the one that you want, and you can have auto settings, but typically when it comes to the night sky, you really want to go to manual so you can try to control some of these elements. And your resolution is 12.5 megapixels because it's taking photos essentially. And you can have set a timer for when it starts. Next one is photo burst. So here the options would be different because we've just been looking at videos up until this point basically. Here we have photo. So when we swipe up, we're going to see, our megapixels for the photos, a timer to start, and here we're going to have our burst mode. So here is 3 pictures every 1 second, and you can go all the way to 30 pictures every 10 seconds. So you pick the one that fits your needs. Format, Pure Shot is Insta360's proprietary, file format. Or you can do a standard JPEG. You can pick your ratio, 4:3 or 16:9. With the popularity of vertical content, I've been doing more and more everything in 4:3. Next mode we have here is interval, and here you can set it to take a photo, every 1 second up to every 120 seconds. You can set your resolution from 12.5 megapixels all the way up to 50 megapixels. And same format, Pure Shot, Pure Shot plus RAW, or JPEG. The Pure Shot plus RAW, those are going to be pretty large files. You can adjust your aspect ratio, 16:9 to 4:3. and your duration forever, all the way up to 10 hours. If we look at our parameters here, you have auto, you have the typical things, you have a profile, exposure value, white balance, or you can go in there and adjust manually. So right now it's going to take a 50 megapixel photo forever, every 1 second. And you can go in here and adjust your field of view. So you're not going to see the field of view options for 45 or 360 because those will be for videos. The next shooting mode here is this is standard photo. You can pick between a 12.5 megapixel and a 50 megapixel. Choose your file format, JPEG, PureShot, or PureShot plus RAW. And you have your ratio and your timer. So all very standard. If you go over here to auto, you can adjust your profile, your exposure value, your white balance, and your face priority, or you can go to the manual and do some adjusting. And this one here, you can tap the screen to take a photo or hit the shutter button, and you can adjust your field of view. So right now it's telling you you're in photo mode and your SAV is set for 12.5 megapixel photos. And this is letting you know how many photos you have available. And that takes us through all of the shooting modes. We're back at standard video. One of the things that separates Insta360 from GoPro and DJI is this app, so I want to quickly touch on that also. It's very comprehensive. So when you get your camera, it's going to ask you to go in and do your initial setup. But once you're past that, and when you're ready to connect to your camera, down here you have a photo of a camera with like the Wi-Fi signs. If you tap that, it is going to connect. And then once you're in the app, you can completely edit within there if that you like. You can use it to look through your photos. You have a lot of options. So first, let's go to the album. So you go to album, and it's pulling the album from the camera here. And everything you're able to do within the camera, you can do in the app. So up here, you tap that, and you can select multiple photos. You can decide if you want to delete them, if you want to download them, if you want to favorite them, if you want to export and share them. So if you open an individual individual video or photo, here is to export. You can go here to get information about it, the ratio, the resolution, the frames per second, the file size. You can get file information. You can favorite it. Here you can go in and trim the video up. Favorite it here also. You can go and edit the video. Your audio, add music, the speed, adjust the color, add effects, a lot of different things you can do within the app. Download it or delete it. We'll just use this one for example to export. So if you export it to the phone, that's all you do. You can make it that easy. Or you look at it here, export. If you have this little arrow here, you tap on that and you can adjust your settings. So right now it's at 4K, and I could take it down to 1440p. Your frame rate, your bit rate, you can adjust. You can already have set parameters for where you're going to export it to. Your default, if you can go to YouTube, you can have all that set. If you want to edit your videos, you just tap edit, and here you have flash cut, and these are pre-set up edits you can do, and you can kind of scroll through and find the one that fits the scene you want. And I find it's better to kind of look through these before you gotta go out, so you have an idea in your head of the shots you want and how it's going to come out. You have Shot Lab, and this is where you can add all kind of cool, crazy effects. And not every camera can do every effect, so you want to make sure you pick the one that's right for you. But the AI Warp, that works for all of the cameras, for example. When you're ready to create a video, you can do the auto edit where it does everything for you and gives you a pretty good rough cut, in my opinion, of a video, and then you can kind of go in there and change and tweak. All you do is select the file that you want, and it puts it together for you, and then you can kind of adjust it from there. So it gives you a good starting point. Or if you just want to take care of it all yourself, create the video, you just go ahead and select the videos you want, click next. Now you can go in here and edit up your video clips. You can add music, you can add text, you can add stickers, add effects. You can do it all within the app on your phone if you want to. If you tap the camera icon, you can use the phone to control the camera through the app. So you can go in here, you're in standard video mode. Everything that we discussed on the camera you can do within the app. Recording length, with your grid lines, histogram, the GPS, tutorials, all your different modes are all here. If you tap settings, and you can scroll down to your device, it tells you what device you're connected to, your battery life. You can check your storage, your firmware version, other settings. But here you can do the GPS activity stats. So you tap that, and whenever you're ready to go out and do whatever your activity is, whether it's running, mountain bike in your car, you press start record, and it's going to start keeping track of all this data, and then you can overlay it onto your footage. To learn even more about the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, check out this 10 tips and tricks video.